But this is being recorded, but it doesn't mean that everything you say will be and anyone who comes in can see it. But and after that, we'll probably split it up and make a few videos, and we'll edit it at our discretion. And we could, if there's enough footage, could make a couple of videos. Last time we made 3 videos, which were reasonably successful. And we also edited them, and there's no telling how things will go. So anyway, make allowances. So anyway, I'll introduce you all again. And if you have any comments, say them. Any questions, say them now. But also in the course of the talk, there'll be opportunities to butt in or to add to what's going on. So anyway, first of all, this is Yishai. Yishai is here. Oh, okay, Yishai, say hello, Yishai. More, they can't see you. Okay.
Hi.
Yishai is helping us, technical assistance, small support, and so on, and the personal advice, whatever you want. If you have any problems, go to Yishai. Okay. He also proves that the Jews had to be scattered for the sake of the world, for the sake of fulfilling what they had to fulfill. And another point he apparently quotes from Esdras, S2 Esdras, that we quoted before in the Apocrypha, says that the lost 10 tribes, when they went into exile, they were exiled because they did not keep the law. But when they went into the exile, they began to keep the law. And so Manasseh has the idea that the lost tribes, wherever they must be keeping the law, must still be religious Jews keeping the law. That's what he says. And he is wrong. I just read through, I'll return to this, I just read through quickly how Manasseh saw those 10 tribes in his time. He says that the West Indies are part of America, actually inhabited by part of the 10 tribes. And they pass there out of Tartary, there's Scythia by the Strait of Anion, Bering Strait. And the tribes are not in any place, but in many, because the prophets have foretold their return shall be into their country out of diverse places. Isaiah especially said it would be 8 places, that they did not return to the second temple. That this day they keep the Jewish religion. This is incorrect. I'll show you later in a minute. The prophecies concern their return to their country are necessary to be fulfilled. All the prophecies have to be fulfilled, or will be fulfilled. That from all the coasts of the earth they shall meet in these 2 places. So Assyria and Egypt, God preparing an easy, pleasant way. And abound with all things, as Isaiah said, from thence they shall fly to Jerusalem as birds to their nests. Shall fly first class in an easy way, a comfortable way. That is what Manasseh, how Manasseh is explaining the verses in Isaiah. And that their kingdom shall be no more divided, but the 12 tribes shall be joined together under one princess, under Messiah, the son of David, and that they shall never be driven out of their land. Now, concerning the point that Manasseh says those 2 tribes have kept the Jewish religion, they apparently took this from Esdras 4, which is apocryphal, and most Jews don't relate it to it, are actually wary of it, considering it was probably written by sectarians, so people are not kosher. Jews or non-Jews, whoever wrote it is not accepted. Anyway, it is part of the Christian Bible, some of the Christians, and Manasseh relied upon it. And in this book, Esdras, it says that the lost 10 tribes became even more religious in their place of exile than they had been. They'd been exiled because they were pagans. They worshipped pagan gods, as we see in 2 Kings, chapter 17, and elsewhere in detail. They had been like the Gentiles, become like the Gentiles, and they were considered Gentiles according to the Talmud and according to the book of Hosea. And that is an accepted opinion. That is what the Bible is saying. The lost 10 tribes in the places of exile were like Gentiles. And they continued in their froward way that they had gone in. They forgot who they were. And when they return, they will be brought back not only physically, but also spiritually. And the truth will be revealed to them, and that is what the prophets are talking about. So that is what we have. And we have what Manasseh says. And Manasseh is important because Manasseh confirms that the term isles or isles of the sea and the ships of Tarshish refers to the lost 10 tribes returning from America, and they will return from America. And this confirms what we have been speaking of in the past. So that is what we have. I'll just if anyone wants to talk. If anyone wants to talk, let them just maybe everyone wants to talk. They now can do so.
Yair,
Yeah.
I think that we are in the end times, and it is time for the prophesied Messiah to appear. And I have my eye. What is that?
Labaneko, okay.
I have my eye on Benjamin Netanyahu, who is of the correct Davidic lineage. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about that.
So we spoke about this in the last meeting, but we don't. Benjamin Netanyahu from his father is a Levi. Okay, so Levi can be a great person. A lot of the most important commentators and religious figures and national leaders were from the tribe of Levi, including the Maccabees, Hasmoneans were from the Cohens, they're also from the tribe of Levi. And we have Levi is very important, but the future Messiah will be from the seed of David. And so whatever happens, may he be successful, doesn't mean he can't do anything, he can do a lot, and he has done a lot. He's done both good and bad things, things which I would criticize him for having done. But on the whole, in the past, he has been very positive.
And
On
I had a
the
second,
state of Israel, we hope he will continue along that path, along that pathway.
yes, I'm staying alert. I had a second question, though. It seems to me that the
Who
blessing,
is speaking? I just unpin you. I can't see who's speaking.
Giddy,
Okay.
concerning the prophecy given to Ephraim that he would be the greatest nation. I interpreted that as being the United States, since we are the greatest nation.
Okay. Okay, Kiki. So what is your question?
Do you think that Ephraim in prophecy could be represented by the United States, since we are the greatest nation that's ever been?
Okay, so it could be. It could be. This is a possibility. A lot of people in America, especially people believing Muslim tribes, identify with Ephraim. And there are indications that many from the Ephraim are also amongst the population of the USA. But we have the prophecy of Jacob to the sons of Ephraim and Manasseh, and according to understanding of that prophecy, the United Kingdom, Britain, the Great Britain, fulfills the role of Ephraim more than the USA does. Also, the rabbis understood the blessings to Manasseh to say that Manasseh would be even greater than, the material sense, even greater than Ephraim, and that he would somehow either emerge from Ephraim as the USA did emerge from Britain, and materially Manasseh would be greater and bigger, and that is what we find. And we still, but Manasseh was to come after Ephraim, and the USA did come after Ephraim. But even so, Britain still has more attributes that we associated with Ephraim than the USA does. But the USA has attributes that we associate with Manasseh. So that is what we hold by. And we also teach about it, have articles about it, have books about it. You don't have to accept it. We don't hold. We believe the lost and tribes amongst Western peoples. That's the most important thing. We also believe the Jews are the Judah of the Bible. Jews have to be respected. People who belong to Western tribes also have to respect their own nations, and I should have a general belief, keep understanding the lost and tribes are in the West. What specific tribes are where? We also have understandings and teachings concerning this. But you don't have to accept it. This is whatever you like, whatever is most convincing to you. Fits your own understanding is acceptable. Go ahead. Okay, is anyone else have something to say? John Thornton, Rakrega. John Thornton.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. How about several questions? 1 point and 2 questions. One of the fascinating talk, by the way, on that, and also the article you had written. One of the criticisms of what's called Anglo-Israelism, which supposedly started, probably did start in the UK. But one of the criticisms is it didn't start until about the 1800s, when in fact what you've shown is that it came into the concept was here long before the formation of the British Empire, but it didn't really take place until run about 1600s, 1700s, really after 1707. So this was appears to have been something that was pretty widely understood long before the arrival of the British Empire. One of the
Very good, very good point. They had a premonition, people had a premonition, an inner instinctive understanding of this subject. And it wasn't just British Israel. British Israel came along about what time, 1812 or 1880, much later. People believed in what is so-called British Israel from the very beginning.
Yes.
Even in Irish and Welsh legends, sources, I even saw references to it. But,
yes, and King, what's his name again? King James I, the Sixth of Scotland, First of England, believed he was king of Israel. You know, that was in 1603 when he was crowned. My second, a couple of questions. Interesting. I was looking at one of your slides there, and it mentioned that Israel, the descendants of Israel, will be taken from the land of Assyria. Now, I've read your book on Edom, and you don't believe that Germany is Assyria. What do you think it's referring to when it mentions the land of Assyria?
so we don't necessarily nullify the concept. I know this is a strongly held concept among certain groups, especially the Worldwide Church of God believed in that. Craig White, a friend of ours in Australia, wrote books about it, very interesting books. And Herman Holm, who we corresponded with, also believed that a lot of people believed in it, and there could be something to it. Our understanding is that it could sometimes refer to an aspect of Edom, that we understood that Edom not only was to the southeast of the land of Israel, we also had the conclaves, the enclaves, ruling elites in the city of Tyre and Phoenicia, also in Babylon. In their Bible, you often find Babylon and Edom interchanging. Also, we find Babylon interchanging with Assyria. And we have also indications that in Babel there was a whole suburb of people from Edom. So the names given to the specific entities might change according to different aspects of the personality of the national groups that comprise these groups, according to who takes over, who has the leading say at the time in question. It does not necessarily nullify the possibility. They're both understandings of something to them.
Okay.
John, it's Nelson here.
Yeah.
Good.
Dr. Herman Hay, who's one of the noted scholars on this subject, claimed that Asshur, A-S-S-H-U-R, you can look it up. Asshur eventually became the Assyrians, and the bulk of the Assyrian tribes today have pretty well been identified to be pretty well in Austria and Germany, not only there because the nations were formed after the tribes, but just take a look at the word, the Assyrians, and then you've got the Waffen SS. I mean, there's a lot of, that's just a superficial idea, but there's a lot of proof that today modern Germany is the descendants of Asshur and the Assyrians.
Yeah, I've read Dr. Hay's compendiums. I was just interested in, obviously, that's what the Worldwide Church of God taught for many years. And I've recently read Yair's book on Edom. And that there's not just Yair, other Jews have referred to the sons of Haman, who were actually executed at Nuremberg. I've heard that one. It appears to be a kind of a prophecy. Referring to these sons of Haman who were actually executed there. So there's all sorts of strains. And then Dr. Hay apparently, well, he had that compendium produced about 1962-63, but he didn't update it. He seemed to go pull back a bit from it. Didn't want to, you know, it seemed to fall out of favor, put it that way. But so perhaps his view changed. I don't know what bits of his view changed. I just know that it never got developed. But my final question for Yair is in Ezekiel, the Gog and Magog war. It talks about fire, God sending fire on the isles. Do you think that could be Britain or America?
So I have to look it up. I don't. It's not. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
It talks in Ezekiel 38 and 39. You have the Gog-Magog war.
Okay.
There's a reference there. I think it's in the 38th chapter. It talks about God sending fire on Magog and also on the isles where they dwell. The kind of not bothering about God. They're not interested in God. And I'm just curious because some Protestant evangelicals have suggested that could well be the case, and I'm just curious for your view.
Okay, we haven't got any firm doctrine on it. The term isles in Hebrew means island, or also can mean coastline according to the context, or various nations. And we have to see the context. What we hold is where the Bible talks about lost and tribes, and places lost and tribes, and also mentions the islands, or the islands of the West. Then the intention is to the British Isles and to America and Canada, and to other related areas. And we have to take everything in its context, together with other verses, and so on. So I can't really answer that specific question, but that's our understanding. Okay, I'll ask see if anyone else has any questions. Thanks a lot, John. Here's Nelson. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I have a question here, just to bring us up to date today. What can you say about the Ukrainians? Is it descends from Media, the Medes?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get into this, but I don't like the Ukrainians. As we said in the talk, Camille Nicky was the Ukrainian national hero now. They have statues to him. They put his face on their currency. And also there were other anti-Semites, Petloria, Simon Petlora and others who committed atrocities against the Jews, and they too are national heroes. The present leader of the Ukraine, he is a comedian, original comedian of Jewish ancestry, but he's married to a non-Christian. He became a Christian. He had his children baptized as Christians. Also, the Ukraine is requesting, putting pressure on Israel to help her, wants arms from Israel, wants other assistance from Israel. But in the UN, Ukraine joined with the Arabs and all the others, the majority of the world's countries, to condemn Israel, to say untruths, and slander the state of Israel, to join the chorus of nations, of Gentile nations who are attacking Israel. So, and also in the Second World War, there were the Ukrainians who helped Jews. And also I've had the Ukrainian friends, okay? So, there were heroes amongst the Ukrainians, helped the Jews, helped the Allies, and even the anti-Semites. It's not a black and white story, but nevertheless, on the whole, the Ukrainians were against the Jews, and we have a negative. In general, we say we have a negative picture concerning them. They belong to Edom or to Canaan or to some other reprobate entities, in our opinion. They don't have to. I don't have an opinion on anyone, but that's the way we see it. Okay.
I feel we're really close to this Gog-Magog war, and my question is, in reading Ezekiel, it says that the land of Israel will be divided in a certain way after the war, according to the tribes. And so my question is, wouldn't there have to be a lot of consciousness among the lost tribes and the Jewish people from where they come from? You understand?
Yeah. Okay. So our understanding is it also says that the Messiah, when the Messiah comes, he will be enabled to he will purify the tribe of Levi, and indication he will tell who belongs to the tribe of Levi and who does not in the Bible. And the sages said this refers also to all of the tribes of Israel. And Maimonides brings it as a law, as a declared law, which at the Mount, the future Messiah will tell each person which tribe he belongs to. And we don't know exactly what that means, because there are millions of them. He's not going to go to each and everyone and tell them this, but apparently he might, in the assumption that the Messianic age, at least at the beginning, will go according to the ways of nature, according to rational common sense processes. He will put into place some type of process, some type of ruling, whereby each person may know what Israelite tribe they belong to. And in Ezekiel 47, it even says that those who are not physically descended from the tribes of Israel, but dwell amongst the tribes of Israel and identify with them, he too will have a place in the future division of the land, together with the tribe that he dwells amongst, and be counted as one of them. So that is what we know.
Okay. Well, what if the Ruach HaKodesh tells you as a person, as an individual, what tribe you are from? And maybe this is a way, but I'm curious, because believing that the Gog-Magog war is very close, then it seems to me that there would have to come a consciousness within Israel and outside of Israel, the United States and Canada, about this, okay? Because I didn't know about this until 1999. I couldn't come to Israel before 1996. So God told me what tribe I'm from, because when I asked him, he told me, and my friend as well, just before we met you, okay? And I didn't come to Israel. I couldn't come to Israel before 1996. And afterwards, I read this article by Mr. Wooten, Angus Wooten, and he calculated that the lost tribes were exiled from the land until 1996, and that the return would happen between 96 and 2008.
Oh, okay, so we read from Manasseh what he was saying, and that what Manasseh was saying, it reflects a general understanding of the rabbis, even though not all of them adhere to that, but the general understanding is that person shouldn't give definite dates, shouldn't make predictions, can make general, based on an understanding of the Bible, he can make general appreciations, give an overall general idea that maybe the time is coming soon. It looks like this, it looks like that. But it's forbidden to make specific dates on such matters.
Okay, but I mean, I'm burning inside to go to Jerusalem, okay? It's inside of me, okay? And I feel very strongly about this, and I felt this for a long time, since 1973, okay? And now I see we're coming into that time, and we'll look what's happening in Russia.
So a lot of people have such feelings. I myself, I came to Israel after the Yom Kippur War. I had, one could say, a strong urge to come to Israel, and I understood that's what I had to do. So I came in 1974, and I've been here ever since. And sometimes it's been very difficult, but on the whole, I'm pleased that I came here. I never regretted it, but everyone has to make their own journey. Like everyone has to make their own journey, find their own way, and ask the Almighty for guidance. And God willing, they will be helped. Everyone who, the Almighty says, anyone who calls upon him will be heard by him. So that is what, and each one of us has what each one of us can do. And that's the reality.
Well, it's very.
What do you want to say, John?
Are there many people who have the same consciousness?
A lot of people are awakening now. This is the beginning, so it's troublesome. It's a pioneer. You're a pioneer. You're one of the forerunners. So it's difficult. That's why you're here. That's what the Almighty put this in your heart. So that we just have to say, may the Almighty help you. May help all of us, because each and every one of us in some way as a similar, feels a similar emotion.
Just want to thank you very much, Yair, and look forward to having more of these. It's been very illuminating. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Also, people should know that this is a beginning, trial and error, as you saw. I'm not used to this, and I don't know which buttons to press and what not to press. And it usually takes me 3 or 4 times to get it right before I remember what I did right the last time and what I did wrong, and not to do it again. Anyway, John, you wanted to say something?
I'm just wondering if you see the second Exodus as a massive movement of people migration, or as individuals.
No, yeah, that is a question that we have. The different groups around. Sometimes we don't always agree with, and understanding on the whole. It's difficult to make specific points concerning individuals. But on the whole, our understanding is that the lost 10 tribes should know who they are, and their task, according to the sources, also the Jewish sources, their task is to reform the world, to reform themselves. And to do that from where they are, make America great again, make Britain great again, make the world a better place as you began to do. That is still the task of the lost in tribes, where they are. That is the most important point. That there are people feel an inner push and inner drive to come to Israel, to become part of the Jewish people. So that each person is an individual. We can't give a general ruling on this, but our overall emphasis is the people on the whole. People who belong to lost in tribes should remain part of lost in tribes and work for the good and benefit of lost in tribes, and help also for the state of Israel, also the Jewish people, also for all other Israelite nations. May the Lord God of Israel bless you all. And so we'll close up now, and hope to see you all again. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thanks, Yair.
Bye, everybody. Look forward to seeing you again. God bless.